echoes even today as we left behind the legacy. On behalf of 131st Dr. B.R. Ambedkar Jayanti, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar Student Association, University of Agriculture Science, GKVK, Bengaluru, has organized Bhimotsava 2022 towards fraternity. Now we have a talk on dismantling patriarchy, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar as a feminist by Dr. Yashaswini P., Assistant Professor of English. I feel extremely privileged and honored to be given this opportunity to speak about Dr. Yashaswini P., Assistant Professor of English. She did her bachelor's degree in biochemistry, sericulture and biotechnology from Maharani's College and master's MA in English from Bengaluru University. She is first rank holder in English in PG examination 2012. She was awarded PhD from Rewa University for the thesis entitled Myth, Society and Identity, a study of Geeta Hariharan's selected novels. She has been in teaching profession since 8 years and has served in various educational institutes like Acharya Institute of Graduate Studies, Rewa University and presently in UAS GKVK Bangalore from past 6 years. She has offered various English courses like General English, Additional English and Optional English to various undergraduate streams and various academic semesters like BA Mass Communication and Journalism, BA English Honours, BSc and BBM, including broad topics like prose, poetry, drama, critical theory and novels in literature, experience under expression, grammar, reading comprehension, listening skills, etc. She has attended various national and international workshops and conferences and presented research articles, some of them Similitude of Societies, Commercialization of Education in India, Defining and Redefining Women, Female Struggle for Safe Society, Portrayal of Identity Crisis in Geeta Hariharan's Thousand Faces of Night. She has also authored a book named Workbook for Comprehension and Communication Skills in English. She also encouraged students to create movies, keeping social issues as the main theme and to bring awareness among people through media. She has also anchored many national and international seminars, and today she will be giving a talk on Dismantling Patriarchy, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar as a feminist. Patriarchy is a system that benefits men as a social group through the oppression and exploitation of women that is found to a large extent on the sexual division of labor and nurtured by biological determinism of socially constructed gender roles. The fight to dismantle patriarchy and all the structures of oppression within our own organization, structures and societies is crucial to the system change needed to face the current deep-rooted and interconnected social crisis. Baba Sahib said, "I measure the progress of the community by the degree of progress which women have achieved." By this, I would conclude, and now the stage is yours. Thank you.
Did anyone ever present here? Hope you are not tired. Are you? Is it okay if I take your 45 minutes of time to speak about patriarchy and feminism, which are quietly, you guys are very familiar with, because I always take up these kind of issues in the classroom. Probably I don't know, because the previous year where I have engaged your classes, most of the classes online. So I didn't get that kind of opportunity to discuss these kind of very interesting topics with you all. So now today, respected dignitaries and then my dear students, first of all I would like to thank for giving me this opportunity to speak about this particular topic, because I always believed in feminism, and I did my research in gender studies and feminism. So where I talk about the very important topics like identity crisis and mythological stories, how it is influencing on women and how it is structuring the patriarchy and how it is actually how we can deconstruct the society as well as we can reconstruct it. And when it comes to politics, even in the thesis that I have worked on different types of politics, like especially the gender politics. And then when it comes to identity, what is women identity, what is caste identity, religion identity, and identity crisis, so on. So now today, when the association head was approached me, I was very happy to talk about this particular topic, that is dismantling patriarchy, Ambedkar as a feminist, right? So now I think most of you, like in the crowd, probably knowing that you guys used to write essay, right, on English teacher, your favorite teacher or something like that, yeah? Remember that? Yeah. So I used to receive a few kinds of papers where little appreciation. I don't know whether fortunately or unfortunately they used to talk about the present course teacher, probably for the internals, I'm not sure. So they used to say that you're very presently the course teacher, this is so Yashaswini ma'am, she's very good, very supportive, but feminist. What kind of a point is that? But feminist. It is like he's intelligent but irregular to the class. It gives a very contra meaning to it. Good, supportive, but feminist. So what does it mean? So that question was always like when I see the name of the person, it used to be always guys who have used that term, me calling me as a feminist. Yes, I'm a feminist, right? So now. But the point here is, they say that we are feminists and they term that particular word as though we are terrorists. Because these people, they come, they fight, they question, they're bold, they're too courageous, they don't care for society, they don't, maintain the protocol to talk how, to whom. There comes a question like, patriarchy. Why? Why shouldn't we question the things which are in a very serious disorder? There is no structure for it. So now let's see what exactly feminism is all about. So yeah, feminism. So it's a word coined by Charles in 1837, and it originally referred feminine qualities of character. And feminism is a movement characterized by various ideologies aimed at equality. So equality, it can be political equality, economic, cultural, social rights for women. So it started defining what feminism is, what women are in the society. As you all know, globally, right? Globally, women are said as the other gender. They don't come to the mainstream, do they? No. So who was leading globally the society? It was only men, because they think that they are superior than women. Am I right? Yes? Yeah. So feminism, so when this social disorder was happening, so women, one question popped up in their mind, and then they were like, why are we, called as inferior to men? We are human beings, we are working, we are intelligent, so we all have, all the attributes of what we are, but still why are we inferior to them? Because there are so many social evils, and it was a kind of divine sanction from the religion that they are called as inferior to the other gender. So let's see. So then what happened in Western society? They realized their self. They realized their identity, who they are. And then the movement started. And that movement, they all started for asking the right for vote. Okay? So feminism is a belief that women should have equal rights as men. Correct? You agree with that? Yeah. And in consequence, the feminist movement fights for equal rights and opportunities for women. And then this feminist movement right, the entire movement is divided into three waves. Okay, and in what happened in the first wave that started in 19th and early 20th century in UK and US. Remember, guys, so English literature started in 14th century. 14th century, okay, and then it was only men used to write about things, and there were only men writers. There were no women writers. When women started writing, it is in 19th century. So how many centuries gap that they took time to come and then be vocal about women. So for example, a man explaining about motherhood, can he give a justice to that point because he has not experienced it? He may give 90%, but that 10% psychological trauma about women, only women can explain it better than the other gender because they experience it. The same way transgender too. What they experience, we cannot experience it. So who can give, the justice? The one who experiences it. Correct. So yeah, so 19th century women became vocal about their experiences. They started writing. And then coming back to feminist movement, it won improved rights of women in marriage and property. Its biggest achievement was winning some political power. So what happened, these people, they campaigned, women campaigned on the roads, and then they started, holding placards saying that no vote for women, women for vote, sorry. And then in 1918, women were, they were sanctioned, they gave the access to vote. Who gave? The other gender of the society. So they gave the, opportunity for women to vote. And it was a clause that, the women who should have the property will get the right of vote. Right? And later, in 1928, it was extended to all women and above 21. And then in the second wave, what happened in that happened in 1960s and 1970s, it extended fight beyond political rights to, right to education, and then safety measures in workplace as well as in domestic. And then a very important work, that is the Feminine Mystic by Betty, that argues that women were, unhappy. They are not happy in the said stereotypical, chores that women ought to do as a woman, right? So she was always confined to the four walls, that is kitchen and storeroom. Correct? She never, came out. Why did they deny giving her voting power? Because she has no knowledge. Correct? When you are not, when the doors of education is shut to her, how can she become an educated person? It's an irony, right? So then, third wave, what happened in 1970s, to present, now even fourth wave also started. But still, let's stick on to the third wave, because fourth wave we haven't seen any movement as such. So it widened the feminist movement and its ideas beyond middle class. It went to the grassroots level of the society. It started talking about the race, ethnicity, and the class structure of the society. Then what happened? So many things were happening in Western, and what about Indian society? So in India also, feminism started. So when did it start? It started in late 19th century. So again, here also we can divide the movement into three, phases. So first phase, what happened beginning in mid 19th century. So reformers began to speak in favor of women's rights by making reformations in the society in the field of education, customs involving women. Okay, and who were the feminists who worked in this first wave, second wave, and third wave? I'll be talking about them later. And then in the second phase, from 1915 it started. So you all know. Indian independence era, that movement, nationalism movement, where women started coming out of the houses and they started participating in, freedom struggle. Correct. They started understanding their self. They understood what they are. They understood their identity. They all started coming out of the houses on the roads. They started protesting for the independence. And then in the third phase, and then in the in second phase, women organizations also began to emerge. And in the third phase, that is post-independence, focus on fair treatment of women at home after marriage and also in workplace, and right to political parity, that is political equality. Their representation should be there even in leading the society. So let's talk about early feminists. So I think you're very familiar with this particular picture, who's one of my most favorite personalities, where I try to follow their footprints. So now it's Savitribai Phule. So do I have to even give an introduction about this great personality? So yes, so she is the first woman teacher, right, in India, where she started educating women, and she started telling, bringing an awareness about importance of education. She, along with her husband supported her. She learned, she acquired knowledge through her husband, and then she used to go to these Dalit colonies and all, and then teach them. But on the way of her, people in the society, they were not supportive to her going over there. They used to throw stones, they used to throw cow dungs on her to stop her going to that kind of a locality and educate these downtrodden people. So she used to carry one pair of sari. So one, while passing, that will be full of cow dung. She used to change the sari and then teach them. Again, she used to come back with the same old sari, so that again they used to. So can you imagine the audacity of, patriarchy here? The power, how they used to suppress the other gender. Is that a good thing? And imagine what kind of mental trauma. If she would have been very weak, she wouldn't have, taken it in a challenging manner, and she wouldn't have continued doing the same. And then you have Fatima Sheikh. So she was born in 1831, and then we don't know her particular date of when she passed away. So she is an Indian educator. So she used to join her hands with Savitribai Phule, and what we have to recognize here is she is the first woman Muslim teacher. Okay, so from minority also, coming out of the shackles of religion limitations, it is again a challenging thing for a woman, right? And then Tarabai Sinde, she was an activist whose work Stri Purush Tulana is considered the first modern Indian feminist text. So she started, she speaks about the social order, how women are considered as inferior and how men are considered superior in the society, and how the imbalance of the society, right? And she also tries to talk about how we can balance the society by giving the equal rights to women. So now one more feminist, that is Ramabai Ranade. So she is the one who studied Sanskrit, the first woman who studied Sanskrit. So she, she took it as a challenge, because again here, women were not given access to get education, and later she should not study Sanskrit because she is impure. So this is a divine sanction from the religion that says that no, women are impure, so they are not supposed to study Sanskrit. So she challenged it, and she studied it, and then that's why Pandita Ramabai, her name is Pandita, and then she even went abroad, and then she acquired so much of knowledge, and then she became a Sanskrit scholar. And then this particular person I have to talk about, so is very, very important. Though she wasn't called true feminist, but she was a feminist, because in every man's success, every successful man behind, so there is a woman, right? So she is none other than Ramabai Ambedkar. So Ramabai married Ambedkar in 1906, and then Ambedkar was 15, and then she was just 9. And then their journey started, and then she was a moral support to Ambedkar. So because you can imagine how many years that he went abroad, leaving entire family and the responsibility on her. And she never objected that. And she understood his importance in the society, and she also gave complete support to her husband to become, to bring a biggest change in the society. So here, her steadfast nature helped her overcome many difficulties. She held her head high amidst social injustice, right? So she was not a weak person. She was not weak. She was very strong. She, because of her strength, she was transferring this strength even to Ambedkar. Okay, so that's why I just wanted to talk about Ramabai Ambedkar. Is there only women feminists that we have to talk? No, there are men feminists also. So first one I have to talk about this is this superhero Raja Ram Mohan Roy. He crusaded against sati, polygamy and child marriage, fought for education and property inheritance rights for women back in 18th century itself. And then Jyotiba Phule, husband of Savitribai Phule, whom I had already introduced in the previous slide. So he worked with his wife Savitribai Phule and friend Sadashiv Ballal to set up a center against infanticide to help widows in labor and give birth, and founded Satyashodak Samaj, that is a Samaj where it talks about the disorder of the society, and then he talks about we have to construct a society which is casteless and religionless, and which should give the equality between the two genders. And then here, the main topic, the main important person, that is Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. Because you all have spoken much about this personality in the previous session. So now I would like to tell that he was the chief architect of Indian Constitution, because when I was listening to the previous the session, people were talking about Constitution of India. So I was thinking, okay, in my session I am going to talk about the provisions, constitutional provisions, and how it is helping and shielding women in Indian society. So he wrote Indian Constitution and guaranteed protections for a wide range of civil liberties for individual citizens. So he is the icon of downtrodden people, and including freedom of religion, and and the abolition of untouchability and outlawing of all forms of discrimination. Ambedkar argued for extensive economic and social rights for women. That is very, very important. So he did work only for the downtrodden people. He also worked for women of India, because women conditions were not great back then, right? So Indian society and the domination and how they used to look at these people as the other was actually pathetic. So then his ideologies were actually based on Periyar E.V. Ramaswamy, a few ideologies. He believed in his ideologies, marriage involves the enslavement of women by her husband, and not to waste money on marriage expenses. These are few his ideologies, Ramaswamy, Periyar's ideology, and he started self-respect movement. So in that self-respect movement, what happens? Self-respect weddings is based on rationalism and equality between partners without any Brahminical rituals. So what happens, when the marriage happens, in religion we say that Kanyadan. So what does it mean, Kanyadan? Kanya is a person, right? It's a living creature. Yes or no? You agree? Yeah. Why do you want to give that person as dan? Is she a material? No. She is a living object. She is a living creature. There is no point giving someone, who is who to give someone as dan. We have given rice in dan, or dal in dan, woman. Okay, fine. What about this Kanyadan? So you can imagine the intensity of being superiority on these kind of rituals, and also the dowry system. Why there is a point of giving dowry for a person to get married to a woman? Why? And also the point here is one more important thing I wanted to tell is, like in marriage, what happens, like the girl's father should wash the hands of, feet of the groom. Why? Just because your father offered girl, you have to do all such things. Why not they do that to a woman? Will they? No. So these kind of, there is no logic for these kind of rituals. There was no logic. There is no logic at all. And also encouraged widow remarriage. Earlier there was no chance for women to go for remarriage, right? Because it was always said that, usually imagine when she is though she'll be in 30s or 40s, husband will be around 40s or 50s because of the age gap. Because you remember the child marriage, so they used to have 15 years or 10 years plus only age difference. Like something will happen and then he will die. But what happens with this lady who is in early 30s? Doesn't she have any desires? And what kind of a society which says that you are not supposed to get remarried, but you encourage polygamy there? Men can marry so many women, but not women should go for remarriage to have a companion. Forget about all other things. Companion is very important in anybody's life. Yes or no? Right? Yeah. And then he condemned child marriage because that was the era where everybody used to go for child marriage back then, and then called the dowry an evil and exploitative practice. And then coming back to this particular important person, that is Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. So what his ideologies were. So as I told, Indian society is a patriarchal one. It is not was a patriarchal, was and is. It's a patriarchal one where men will have the power and they channelize it on women. So they will be more authoritative on women. They instruct women do's and don'ts. There is no choice of living for women. So who makes the law in society? It is only men, right? And then you all also know the Varna Vyavastha in Indian society, where you have the caste hierarchy, right? So one caste is superior than the other. Yes. So the superior caste, which thinks that it is great, so it will obviously dominate the lower caste. Right? Shudras, that is Ati Shudras, called as Panchamas, they are Dalits. So you can imagine the social order and how the injustice was happening on these downtrodden people, especially women. And he was against this caste system because of untouchability. So if you, like, I was very impressive when a person was vocal about, exchanging the lunch box in the previous session, right? So so many people, they say that, casteism is not there, sir, everybody is equal, they take reservation, everything is doing fine, we don't have that idea at all. But what actually happening, that was the story which has happened very recently. It is not, in 18th century or 19th century that has happened, very recent story. So still the caste system is very existing in society, so where we are trying to dismantle all that. So now he explained the means of exploitation and oppression. So he was well aware about these kind of issues because he himself was a Dalit. As I told, the person who suffers inside the system will give more justice and understands more and more and more because he has underwent that psychological trauma. Now, then what happened? So he pre-independence, era. So he was very vocal about these kind of, exactly the caste system, the oppression, and the untouchability problem. So he used to speak more and more about, he was very vocal about these things, and then he gave memorable speeches in roundtable conference also. So with that, he made a very good image from British people, and then he explained the status of depressed classes of the Indian and of Indian society as well as women. So prepared. So he knew that, like, when if he gets a chance of writing this Constitution of India, he was prepared so well that he has to bring some provisions, the constitutional provisions, where he can take out women from the clutches of patriarchy. So prepared scheme of political safeguards for betterment of oppressed classes of the society, advocated immediate introduction of adult franchise, because see what happened in Western society, they after the constitution was in process, like women realized later that they don't have the right of vote, but here in India we didn't do that. There was no chance for women to come out of the doors and then on the roads and then asking for or protesting for right of women, because it was already there. When he wrote, he already gave us the right of vote. So there was no need for Indian women. Okay, so you can understand how ahead he was and his thinking, because he was so well read and he took education in Western society as well. And then he became finally chairman of drafting committee of Indian Constitution by winning the election from West Bengal, though he lost in Bombay province. So a few books that he is being very vocal about: Annihilation of Caste, who were the Shudras, caste in India, their mechanism, genesis and development, the problem of the rupee, its origin and its solution. On the especially based on this, we have constituted Reserve Bank of India today, and Buddha and his Dhamma, and the untouchables, who were they and why they become untouchables, waiting for a visa. So annihilation of caste, he advocates that until and unless that we understand the caste system, we come out of this caste, you cannot expect any change in a progressive order. So until and unless we understand the social structure, like who is dominating who is oppressing whom, if we stop that, until and unless, we are not going to construct a better society for the downtrodden people as well as women. So whenever I tell oppressed section, it is not only downtrodden class of the society. Remember, I'm also referring the gender, that is women. So when you see these books, it is very clear. It is very clear that he is talking. He is focusing mainly on the downtrodden. So, but there is no reference of feminism or feminine or female, something like that. So what happened? The general idea. So that became he was vocal only for SC/ST, not for anybody. Right? And apart from these books, so he wanted to reach audience. So until and unless we get educated about what exactly the society, how it got constructed, we don't understand how it is running right now in present. So apart from those books, so he also launched few journals, that is Muknayak, Bahishkrit Bharat, Janata and Prabudha Bharat, where there was a separate column for women to talk about women issues. So prior to that, there was no. So only in his journals there was a special column to address women issues. So that is very important. So his concern towards women more than any other pseudo-feminists of India, to be honest. So Ambedkar's perceptions of women's questions. So now the point here is he started emphasizing the right to education. So education is the only panacea to bring change in the society. Education. So even Mary Wollstonecraft in 1792, she also talks, she says in her Vindication for Women's Rights. So that was the first feminist in, Western. And she says that, women ought to get education and they should become empowered. And it is not they become wives of the husband. They have to become companions. So partnership. So any marriage, it is not wife and husband, it is the partnership. And then the same thing, even Ambedkar was advocating to Indian society, especially to women. And then he understood that education, if they through education only they can understand their self. Why are you all here today? Because you are able to understand what I am trying to tell. Because you have got a certain amount of knowledge already. So what am I doing? I am not giving any extra knowledge, but I am just adding little knowledge to the existing knowledge of yours. Right? So that's the reason I am able to reach you. And the right to property. So property rights are not there for women. Right? Recently, like 1993 or 92, the law was passed that even women can have all the rights for property. And when that was happened, what have you all heard of Sudha magazine and Taranga? Yeah, the cover page where it says that. So now there will be. So the moment that the law was passed, the cover page said that now there will be a big fight between sisters and brothers. What does it mean? So all these days we were all fine. The moment that women got the property of right, you are not ready to accept her as your sister. Right? So then, they other feminists, they went and they changed the entire cover page because that was actually giving a very negative shade. So why you people were like, bhai, behan, all these days, just because you are okay that, she is not going to ask my property. So whatever property my father has earned, it is only for me. The moment that she got the right, so you started hating her. You understood the point. So yeah, and then he said that there should be right for property and political progress. So there is no need of other gender to lead women. Women can lead themselves. So there should be political representation from women. And then he advocated very, very important 3 words, that is equality, liberty and fraternity. These are the 3 basic objectives where Indian Constitution is framed on. So now, when he became very vocal, so Ambedkar movement started from 1920 onwards. So he argued for creating separate electorates and reservation for untouchables. So separate electorates finally didn't happen because if that would have happened, probably the condition of these downtrodden people would have been increased, would have become better. But that didn't happen because someone went for a satyagraha saying that there should not be separate electorate, and finally Pune back happened. Well, let me not get into that. So let me focus on feministic aspects of Ambedkar. So he tried to promote education to untouchables and uplift them. That's why the reservation and all had happened. And then he led many satyagrahas. In that, very important one is Mahad Satyagraha, where he went to drink water. So there was a water tank where untouchables were not allowed to touch water. Imagine, even in touching water, even in water there is a caste. Right? So that demarcation that he wanted to break. So thousands of people joined the Satyagraha. Remember, it was not only the downtrodden people who participated in Satyagraha. There were few rationalists from upper caste also. Okay, and then even women participated in that satyagraha, and when this happened, these voiceless section of the society become powerful. Like they got voice, like they got strength, so they became very vocal, and they understood that yes, we can bring some change. Okay, and then in that satyagraha you can even remember that temple entry in 1927. Then Ambedkar takes up the foremost books of Hindu law, that is Manusmriti. Very, very, very important point, right? So there you can find the double marginalization of women. So one is gender, the other one is sensing her that she is impure, she is disgusting just because she bleeds every month. Right? And then riddles of Hinduism. There are a lot of questions. They're all riddles where you don't bring any answers to that. So riddles of Hinduism, where he talks about Manu's opinion on women. So in Manusmriti, when you read that, so women are being objectified there. So she is a material thing, and then the sense of looking at women is very cheap. In one point, he even says that women should, if the situation demands, women should even seduce men. How is that? So this gave the divine sanction for men to have power on women. Like, who said do's and don'ts? That's what I asked. Who framed the laws? It is only men, right? And then in that Satyagraha, where he even burnt Manusmriti. This is a very important turning point in the society when we see the entire movement. So now this Strina, so that this is 9/18 Vedic mantra. It says that Vedic mantras are not to be recited by women as they are impure and represent falsehood. Why are they impure? Why are they impure? Just as I told that they have the cycle, monthly cycle that they have to face. And if that doesn't happen, then there is no point of creation at all. In one point you say women are great because they have the power of creation, or creating a new life in their womb. And in the other point you just say that they are impure, and they should not be given any chance of reading Vedic mantras. And then Trinsha, that is 9/93, in case of any problem in performing religious rites, males between the age of 24 and 30 should marry a female between the age of 18 and 12. You can understand the age gap here, right? So age gap. And then because I have already stressed on this particular point, so I am not going to talk about it now. And then Bharata Ratnam, where 8/370, in case of a woman proud of her greatness violates her duties towards her husband, the king shall arrange to have her thrown before dogs at a public place. I stress on these words. If she is great, if she feels proud about herself, if she denies duties of that ought to be conducted towards the family, especially for her husband, if she says no, the king has all the power to throw her out, chop her off to the dogs. Can you even imagine the treatment that the society was giving to women? So how did they become there? How all this happened? Because of the divine sanction from the religion. And then very important evil of the society, that is Devdasi system. So you all know, till today it is in an existing form. Till today it is there. Women are not able to come out of Devdasi system just because the upper caste men not letting them to come out, because in public places they were treated so bad, they were brutally beaten up just for saying no to be part of Devdasi system. On records. And now, Ambedkar was against this Devdasi system because this started in Chola's time, and then it was offering women to the god, and later it turned to it shifted towards prostitution, where only women from downtrodden community was given to this particular social evil. Okay, so in speech he said, while addressing the communities of Vagyas, Devadasis, Joginis and Aradhis in Kamatipura, that is in Maharashtra, Ambedkar urged the Devdasi women to, especially because they are from Dalit and other suppressed castes, to give up the regressive religious practice. This is not something they went out of their choice. This is the religious practice pulled them, pushed them into that kind of a state. They were not ready to, share their bed with whomever comes, lies down next to them. It was a religious practice. If they say no, they'll be beaten up. Can you imagine the way that Indian society was treating women? But again, the irony is, you say that in India we look at women like this. We call goddess in the names of women, right? And they have a special status in the society. We name rivers, mountains in the name of women, all that. But what exactly the ground root level, the reality of the position of women in India is the question. And then religious practice of offering pubescent girls to deities in Hindu temples and become sexually available for community members. So these Devdasa system, so the women used to be from downtrodden classes, and who were sharing, who were participating in oppressing them only by male, upper caste males. And then when all these things were happening, so Ambedkar knew that empowerment of women is very, very important. It's utmost important. So he championed the cause of women as well as SC, ST, that is Dalits. And then he passed maternity bill. Today, whoever who is actually enjoying the maternity benefits, maternity bill, like irrespective of caste, all the women in India, they should be very thankful to Ambedkar, because he tried making people to understand that dignity of women is very important. So you can see, like now also you can observe the women, once they they get conceived and all, they become mother, they cannot manage the work. So what they do, they resign and then go, because who will give 6 months of paid leave? Who will give? The constitution provision gave. It is only through Ambedkar. So he understood, and then he mentions that it is the interest of the nation that the mother ought to get a certain amount of rest during the prenatal period, and also subsequently the principle of the bill is based entirely on the principle. So he tells that he makes sure that women should be given the paid leave as well as other provisions, right, to take care of her child, right? And also in 2017, when recently, right, there is another bill passed, pro maternity bill. Now we have paternity leave also. So why it is only maternal leave, maternity leave? It is only the responsibility of women to take care of her children. No, as a father, he should also change the diapers. It is not only women's work. It is not assigned only for women, right? And also more than 50 members. If an employer having more than 50 employees, any organization having more than 50 employees, they have to have a creche type, like the crush. So what do you mean by crush? Means they should have a special room to feed babies, to change diapers, and then they should have a small lawn where they can leave their children in that, and they can get back to their work, finish their work, and then take the children along with them and then go. But you can see how many organizations have this facility for women. And that bill says there should be washrooms, clean washrooms, everything. But you can find, and this was passed in Karnataka and Tamil Nadu, where there are only 2 states which passed this bill. And when they did survey recently, it was only 20%. Like in Bangalore, it is IT hub, so you can find little changes. Like they will show, because that is very important. Because just see now earlier it was joint family, but now it is all nuclear family. It is only there is responsibility to take care of child. And in the name of child, you cannot get off from the work for so long years as well. You have to balance. So, and then women should get a provision even to work online if if there is a chance to perform, give her performance through online. Like she has to be allowed to do such things. So, but you can imagine like organizations having 50, more than 50 members, they should be having all these facilities. But it depends, like which state will take action on this, how it will be channelized. Okay. Then coming to other, so he believed in women organization. So he says in All India Depressed Class Women's Conference Nagpur, I'm a great believer in women's organization. So when are we going to bring change? So why you need organization? Because together we become strong. That is how women's movement started. Correct. There were a lot of women, they came out, right? And then even when you see, when we fought for Indian independence, you can find, a lot of Indians came on roads asking for freedom. So organizations are very, very important. Correct. Why are we today, why am I standing before you and then why you people are sitting here? Because of the organization, which gave us the opportunity to discuss these kind of social issues. So he said that I'm a great believer in women's organization. I know what they can do to improve the condition of the society if they are convinced. They should educate their children and instill high ambition in them. As a mother, we can inculcate few things in them so that they become a very good citizen and they become assets of the nation. And then Ambedkar's idea of equality. So political democracy cannot last unless there lies at the base of social democracy. So political democracy should become, that will become more powerful unless if there is social democracy. Social democracy means what? Society. Society means that should have equality, liberty, and fraternity. Then all citizens would be equal before law, and he said that there is no point in having any biased ideas and no point in you discriminate based on race, gender, and caste and religion. They should have equal rights, equal access to all institutions, conveniences and amenities maintained by or for the public. They possess equal opportunities to settle or reside in any part of India to hold any public office. And then very, very important point of today's is Hindu Code Bill, 1948. Right? He submitted Hindu Code Bill. So what exactly Hindu Code Bill is? So it gives more provisions for women. It is a kind of a shield for shielding women in the society, making her more empowered and more strong. So constitutional principles of equality, liberty, and fraternity. So this was based on these three principles of constitution, and he was sure that he can bring social change when women have equality in legal framework, right? And replace the regressive practices of Hindu law, because I have already said what were the Hindu law, how women were treated in the name of religion as such. And then family planning also he mentions, that is very important. So earlier it used to be 15, 18 children and all, but now family planning, he talks about family measures for women and ensure the enactment of universal adult franchise, that is power to vote. Everyone. It is not only for people who have property, like Western what happened for women. Like it is not like that. Everybody had got the power of vote, right? So you can, if you have the habit of watching movie, the movie from Tamil industry, Nelson Mandela. So Mandela is the movie where it talks about the power of a very common man. Like how these big heads will come to their doorsteps asking for vote. So when you have the power of vote, you become powerful in the society. Then ensure the enactment of legalizing voting rights for women and other marginalized groups, equal right to property, succession, maintenance, marriage, and right to divorce also. Women got her right to divorce. Like she can come out of abusive marriages. And legal recognition of intercaste marriage. So when all these things, like, he submitted, the people, it shook the entire parliament because they were scared, because that will become threat to Hindu orthodoxy. So it is a big threat to patriarchy, because when women become so powerful, what will be the role of men then? They all wanted women to be just puppets in their hands. Correct? But when women becomes more powerful, what will be the question of people who deliberately dominates women? So that become a threat, and then they brought the traditional aspects also into this discussion, and then that was disturbing traditional family structure, because as one of the students, she was mentioning that I'm fine with intercaste marriage. What happens if my dad says no and all that? So that was a threat. Like when you talk about intercaste marriage, people who believe in this traditional family structure, that was a threat to it. So they don't want to accept it. So when lot of oppositions came, and then this bill was not passed in parliament. So it was like Ambedkar. He felt that it is a failure, because these people getting elected from people sitting on big chairs could not even understand the importance of women in the society and how best that we can bring give them a safe society. So if this bill is not passed, there is no point for me being the first law minister of India. So today we can see lot of people, they do resort Rajkarana. They jump from, it's like weighing frogs. They jump. You can't weigh frogs, can you? It will be jumping, right? The same way, today when you see the politics, people will, especially the leaders, so-called leaders, they jump from one party to other party just for the power, just to get the ministership. And you know the lobby, what they do. But what happened with Ambedkar? He resigned and he came off. He didn't want any money or something like that. He wanted to bring the change. He wanted to be, the one who, makes the plight of women better. And then, so when did this pass? Hindu Code Bill. It didn't pass when he was alive. After his death, it was passed. But not fully, like completely. Then, like few, acts were passed. Like 4 bills were passed in 1955 and 56. Hindu marriage succession, minority and lordship and maintenance. Okay. And in 1976, some changes based on liberty, equality, and fraternity. But women started understanding. Like 1970s, 1980s, we were all we had education. So some part of some section of women folk had education. They understood what the importance of Hindu Code Bill, and that started feminist movement in India. And then you can see here a beautiful picture of Ambedkar standing with all other women. So he says that all workers should be grateful to Ambedkar. I say that all workers should be grateful to Dr. Ambedkar, especially women employees. As Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar framed many laws for women workers in India, such as Mines and Maternity Benefit Act and Women Labour Welfare Fund. Today we all talk about Provident Fund, PF, right? So it is based on his principle. And then Women and Child Labour Protection Act, because women and child, we have to protect them. We cannot make them to do hazardous work. And maternity benefit for women labour. So today we are getting paid leave. And then restoration of ban on employment of women on underground work in coal mines. So coal mines working, it's a very, very difficult thing, right? So what was happening? Women and even children were employed over there. But he brought a law where they should not be taken for that kind of hazardous work. And other pro-women acts, like equal remuneration, these acts are based on his ideology of the society. And then Equal Remuneration Act, which was passed in 1976, Dowry Prohibition Act 1961, and equal wages for women. And what exactly women situation today? So women are still fighting issues like physical assault, verbal abuse, dowry, rape, sexual harassment, domestic violence. So rape, when I have to stress, like you can see the numbers over there, right? Can you all? Huh? Yes? Yeah. So physical assault 27.5%, verbal abuse 62.4%, dowry 43%. It is again reported, only reported. Okay, rape reported. The statistical data what I am showing, it is the reported, and which are under carpet we don't know. And in sexual harassment 46.8%, domestic violence 37%. So to avoid this, he wanted to bring constitutional provisions to avoid. Right? So Article 14 guarantees that the state shall not deny equality before the law and equal protection of the laws. Article 14. Article 15 prohibits discrimination against any citizen on the ground of sex. Article 15 Part 3 empowers the state to make positive discrimination in favor of women and children. So safety, women and children safety. Article 16 provides the equality of opportunity in matters of public employment. So there should be equal opportunity. So you cannot, the employer cannot say that you are a woman, we are looking for male candidate. Lot of interviews that you can observe, like probably your seniors might have told you, or your friends might have told you, like they go to interviews. Like they take interview and all. Finally, the point they say that yeah, you are very you are qualified, all that fine, but we are looking for a male candidate. We are sorry, ma'am. But they cannot say that, okay, unless the job demands so. Article 23 prohibits trafficking in human beings and forced labor, like women trafficking. So in India, you can see the trafficking of women and children. So that is prohibited. Article 23 says so. Article 39A and B enjoins the state to provide equal means of livelihood and equal pay for equal work. Okay? And then Article 42 enjoins upon the state to make provisions for securing just and humane conditions of work and for maternity relief. So we have already spoken about maternity bill. Article 51A Bar E imposes fundamental duty on every citizen to renounce the practices of derogatory to the dignity of women. So anything that you do that threats the dignity of women, it is unparliamentary. And Article 243D and 243T say, talks about the reservation, that is seat ought to be reserved in panchayat and as well as municipality for women. Article 243T4 provides reservation of offices of chairperson and in municipalities for SC/ST women in such manner as the legislature of a state may by law provide. So in pursuance of the above constitutional provisions, various legislative enactments have been framed to protect, safeguard and promote the interests of women. Many of these legislative enactments have been in the sphere of labor laws to ameliorate the working conditions of women labor. So earlier it was 14 hours work, right? So one has to work for 14 hours. So May Day we all celebrated. Yes or no? Yeah. Why did we celebrate? We don't know. We just got holiday. Yeah, we enjoyed. Right? So that was decreased to 8 hours. That was decreased to 8 hours. So we have to remember Ambedkar in lot of spheres. Then very, very important, like I was talking about sexual harassment of women at workplace, Prevention, Prohibition and Redressal Act in 2013. So what exactly this is? This bill is a very new thing, right? So Vishaka guidelines for prevention of sexual harassment, that was 1997. So an act to provide protection against sexual harassment of women at workplace and for the prevention of redressal of complaints of sexual harassment. So how did it happen? So the act comes after a long fight by Banwadi Devi. Bhanwari Devi, a Dalit government social worker in Rajasthan who was brutally gang raped by upper caste men for stopping a child marriage. So Bhanwari Devi, very very important person. Today, if we are happy to enjoy this particular law, to take this provision, we should be thankful to this great woman. She is this is a story. So she was a kind of Asha worker, and then her job is to go to the doorsteps of people and then make them educate, bring an awareness. So in Rajasthan, what happened? There was a child marriage happening, and then she went to stop it, to make them understand that it is wrong. And look at her caste. She is a Dalit. And she being vocal about some injustice in the society where you have the domination of class structure, like the upper caste as well as men. So what did they do? They gang raped her, 5 to 6 members. And then it went to court. This incident went to court. What happened in the court? To your surprise, the court says, the High Court said that the rape itself has not happened at all. They tried saying that it is a false allegation by defending that a village panchayat, the Patel was there in the complaint. So the point here is the leader cannot rape. And there are a few men, gang. So in that, there are upper caste men. Upper caste men cannot rape the person who belongs to lower caste because of the caste discrimination. They are untouchables. So rape has not happened. The third point, they cannot rape because their relatives were there in the gang, in front of the niece and all. Nephew and all. The one person cannot rape. The other point was her husband was there. He would have stopped it. So on these points, the High Court said that the rape has not happened at all. And then that made the NGO to intervene. Right? And then Vishaka is an NGO. Okay? It's an NGO that came in support of this Bhanwari Devi case, and then they requested Supreme Court to intervene in the case, and then the justice, finally, they got it. They got the justice. Okay? And then, why this, if by listening to the story, you can ask me that, ma'am, then it would have been, anti-rape law, something like that. Now, why it is sexual harassment at workplace? Because the incidents happened when she was working. She was on her work, and that happened when she, when she was discharging her duties. You got the point? So something happens in the workplace. It is the responsibility of the employer to take action against it. But what happened with the government of Rajasthan? They said that we are not involved in this. And then finally, with all this long struggle. So 1993 the incidents happened. 2013 the law passed. So you can imagine how many years it took. So now in workplace something goes wrong with women. And today why we have women safety cell, women safety cell, women grievances cell. It is all because of this act. So now it is mandatory to any organization to have this kind of cell so that women can be vocal about what exactly happening with her. Colleague may, even if you are staying with a woman, it is a crime. So women safety is very very important. So that's about Sexual Harassment of Women at Workplace Prevention, Prohibition and Redressal Act. So now you can see incidents in India, like what exactly, how women are being treated in, so I was just talking about gang rape, but when they said that, gang rape, has not happened, I just wanted to, show you like what exactly happened. And these are all just reported cases. Let me underline that word. And then statistics of Dalit women rate in India. So women are targeted, they are oppressed, right? When it comes to Dalit women, they are doubly oppressed because of the gender and because of the caste. And there is triple suppression also. That is, a Muslim women because of gender, religion, and minority. Okay. So on an average, India reported 10 rape cases of Dalit women daily 10 cases which are reported. So under behind the screen, lot in 2019, and 13,273 assaults, which including 3,486 cases of rape were against women from Dalit communities. Okay, that is the records from NCRB. And 80% of sexual violence against Dalit women committed by dominant caste men because of the power, right? You can did you remember like what happened? Even they went to the court. They said that village panchayat, like the head of the panchayat cannot rape, the upper man cannot rape because of untouchability. But actually, these people are voiceless section of the society. Even though they go to the police station, do they take their points and charge against the patels of the villages? No, they have no power, no money, nothing. So that's why there is a lot of domination on these women. And then conviction rates for such cases is mere, can you read the point here? 2.5%. 2.5, the conviction rate. The rest 7.5 left free, no charges on them, no punishment for them. So only 2.5 the conviction rate. So now the question is feminism required in India? Yes or no? Yes, to get rid of women from male domination, that is to take her out of the clutches of male domination, to promote equality of the sexes, like it is not stereotypical chores that should be given to her. Even she can come out of the houses and then be empowered. It is not only to lock herself in kitchen. And in every year, over 2 lakh girls are killed even before they can step into the world, and thousands of women die due to dowry, harassment, and then some marriages, they don't even feed women properly, and because of that you have 66.4 women are anemic, and 19 women killed for dowry every day, reported case. To ensure women are respected regardless of their career choices, working women in India earn only 81% of what their male counterparts earn for the same amount of work. Okay? And a report suggests that India would be 27% richer if there were higher employment rates of women. In India, females make up only 11.2% of board members in firms, which is less than the global average. We can see the same trend in the newly elected 17th Lok Sabha, where only 14% of members are women. So where did that for 33% reservation go? So it was passed in Rajya Sabha but not in Lok Sabha. Right? Because again, there is a discussion where the horizontal reservation should be given to women. And then women are considered ill-suited for holding power in democracy. Why are they denying giving the reservation for women? They are scared. Because they become more powerful. They won't be puppets anymore in the hands of men. And why are they denying? Because they think, it is their assumption, their perception on women, that they are considered as ill-suited for holding power in a democracy. But with the history, what history tells, you can see Jhansi Rani Lakshmi Bai. We have a lot of women force, they were the queens. They won a lot of battles, right? But still, you say that they are ill-suited.
And then I just even wanted to make a point here, like even in Indian Army and all, like recently they started opening gates for women. It was not from earlier, like very recently they started opening gates for women, Army, Navy and Air Force as well. And there was a point, like it was a contract job only for few years. Then women all went to the court, and then it took long years for the act to say that they can be taken as permanent employees. But what happened later? The people, the people who are holding a very big position as men, they all went to the higher authority. They said that we don't want to report to a women officer. What's wrong? If you respect women, you are increasing your image in the society. Okay, so there is no need of thinking like that. And to end stereotypical gender roles, to break menstruation taboos. Like people, they don't want to talk about this menstruation because like 80% of women do not use sanitary pads, and in 36 feel uncomfortable in buying them with other customers around. They feel very shy to go and buy sanitary pads. And India suffers from period poverty. We have a lot of money, we are rich, we are a developing country, but what actually happening? We lack enough sanitary products to cater to our menstruating population. Worship, and here you can see the hypocrisy. Worshipping Kamakya Devi, we do worship Kamakya Devi where the god bleeds. They believe that it bleeds. And again you say women are impure just because they bleed. Are you understanding? Yeah. And then to end the idea that men need to be stronger than women, like we teach always boys, if the boys are crying, the small children, don't cry, you're a boy. You're a boy, you're not supposed to cry. So these kind of stereotypical thoughts that we have to come out of, and to stop telling women how to dress. So immodest dress won't give any invitation to rape. And then Ambedkar, so now the point here is, with all these provisions that he made, Ambedkar sometimes is still invisible in the society, especially when we see from the feminist approach. He is invisible. Why? We talk about a lot of other men, as I said, a term pseudo feminists. We talk about them, but we always we don't want to talk about Ambedkar as a feminist, because my recent experience when I attended Women's Day, like they were like quoting Nehru's quote and then Swami Vivekananda quote, but I was just wondering, like where do they quote Ambedkar? Will they talk about Ambedkar? Nobody spoke. Because unfortunately Ambedkar is remembered mainly for championing the untouchables. So critiquing the hierarchical caste system. So faintly considered as feminist. So his progressive approach to bringing about essential changes in women's position in India is commendable, without providing a concrete solution for gender equality. I am stressing here gender equality. The upliftment of women would have remained as a theoretical construct. We talk, like we can say a lot of things, but until and unless that comes in a very concrete form, we wouldn't have enjoyed so much powerful today without constitutional provisions. And then Ambedkar unarguably qualifies the first feminist of independent India, who worked extensively for the rights of both upper caste women and Dalit women. So that's why he is called as the feminist. I measure the progress of a community by the degree of progress which women have achieved. So with this quote and these other references, then educate, agitate, organize. Thank you. Jai Bhim.
That when a girl reads, the world leads. So even this talk is not only related to the women's itself, the feminism, it's also related to the men also, because it reminds me especially my mother, because whatever the decisions she takes is always perfect. And sometimes we think that, she might be doing these type of wrong things. No, but in the long term, whatever the woman decisions taken are really progressive. So by this talk, I would like to say that the first day of Bhimotsava 2022 was really informative, and the day one is successful, and the talk that which you have ended, ma'am, has made this day, ma'am. And I really thank this. And actually, when I was sitting there, ma'am, this little boy Amitabh Chakravarti, I just asked. He was asking me, "Ana, yenidu ಕನ್ಯಾದಾನ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು ಅಂತ?" He was asking me. ಕನ್ಯಾದಾನ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಒಬ್ಬ ಹುಡುಗಿ ಅವ್ರ ಅಪ್ಪ ಒಬ್ಬ ಹುಡುಗನಿಗೆ ಮದುವೆ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಡೋದು ಕನ್ಯಾದಾನ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾನು ಹಂಗೆ ಸುಮ್ಮನೆ ಐ ಆಸ್ಕ್ಡ್ ಹಿಮ್ ಅ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಸ್ಟೇಟಿಂಗ್ ದಟ್, ಆಯಿತು, ಈಗ ನೀನು ಒಬ್ಬ ಹುಡುಗಿ ಇದ್ದಾಳೆ, ನೀನು ಅವಳು ಮದುವೆ ಆದಮೇಲೆ ಓದಿಸ್ತೀಯಾ ಅಂತ ಕೇಳಿದೆ. ನಾನು ಓದಿಸ್ತೀನಿ. ಸಿ ಇಸ್ ಸ್ವ್ಯಾಗ್ ಆಫ್ ಟೆಲಿಂಗ್ ಇಟ್, ನಾನು ಓದಿಸ್ತೀನಿ ಅಂತ. ಆಯಿತು, ಈಗ ನಾಳೆ ಅವಳು ಏನಂದ್ರೆ ಅಗೇನ್ ಪಾಸಿಟಿವ್ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಸ್ಟೇಟಿಂಗ್ ದಟ್, ಅವಳು ಅಕಸ್ಮಾತ್ ನಾಳೆ ಕೆಲಸ ಅವಳು ನನ್ನ ಮನೆ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡಲ್ಲ, ನಾನು ಓದಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ದಾಗ ನಾನು ಓದಿಸ್ತೀನಿ. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಆಫ್ಟರ್ ದಟ್ ಈ ಸ್ಟೇಟೆಡ್ ದಟ್ ಅವಳು ನಾಲೆಡ್ಜ್ ಇದ್ದರೆ ಅವಳು ಏನು ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೂ ಸಾಧಿಸ್ಬೋದು. See that person. This is the change actually we wanted. 1 minute, bye. I would just like to tell him that. No, see, it was ನನಗೂ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಕನ್ಯಾದಾನ ಅಂತ ನನಗೂ ಸಡನ್ನಾಗಿ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗಲಿಲ್ಲ. ನೀನು ಏನಕ್ಕೆ ಹೆಣ್ಮಕ್ಳನ್ನ ಓದಿಸ್ಬೇಕಂತ ಅಂದ್ಕೊಂತೀಯ? ಹಾಂ, ಅಷ್ಟು ಅವಾಗ ಹೇಳ್ದಲ್ಲ, ಅಷ್ಟು ಫ್ರೀಯಾಗಿ ಹೇಳು. ಏನಕ್ಕೆ ಹೆಣ್ಮಕ್ಳನ್ನ ಓದಿಸ್ಬೇಕು?
ಅವ್ರಿಗೂ ನಾಲೆಡ್ಜ್ ಸಿಗತ್ತೆ.
ಆಮೇಲೆ ಈಸ್ ಬಿಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಮೋರ್ ಆಫ್ ಕಾನ್ಷಿಯಸ್ as he's in the stage, but still whatever the way he spoke was really stuck my mind. So I think today's talk on feminism, that too by Ambedkar's perspective, has been solved. I hope so. I think a lot of people would take back more information, and going after this also, I think most people would read about Ambedkar's contribution towards women, and not only the societies, because his contribution is tremendous. It's not only to the field of like just social justice, or to the communal harmony, or to one particular ilk, but to the whole of the country. By this, ma'am, I would like to say thank you, and I would like to ask to give the word of thanks. A small token of appreciation for the presentation, ma'am.
I have a few points to tell. You have a mic, please.
Please.
Okay. So yeah, getting back to the same point, like the first point that I said, like I am a feminist. Okay, I am a feminist, and there is no point of being wrong, like calling ourselves as feminist. And it is not only women should become feminist. I advocate everyone, male counterparts, to become feminist. And and I was hoping that the auditorium will be full with all of publicity. Probably they might have they should have worked more on this. That's my point. And organize, like why Ambedkar said organizing, like any organizations and organizing the events, that has to be structured, that has to be well planned. Right, well planned, and everyone should work for it. Just because one is the president of it, and he should take all the load on his head. It's not so. And so I think from today, the way that you look at women and the perception towards her should change. And women, I always tell you that try to be more stronger. Don't be shy of anything. So nothing is a taboo to discuss. And anything that happens to you, any problem, anything, please do go talk to the women's cell. It is there. It is not. It is there. you have to go and find out like where it is and who is heading it and all, because just because it is mandatory, like we have women's in law, and if any problem that you face, there is also your faculty member, so you can come and approach me so that we can solve a lot of women issues in the organization as well as in the society. Thank you so much, and I would like to thank the entire association for giving this kind of opportunity to talk about feminism, because I have spoken about this issue other institutions, but in our institution, like, thank you so much.
Okay, there will be a discussion happening for next 10 minutes. If anyone wants to pause the question or anyone wants to discuss regarding this topic, is open to the hall.
Yeah. He is very enthusiastic to frame a question. Yeah.
Mic. Illa.
It's okay, I'll stand here. Yeah.
Heli, joragi heli.
Yeah, Naveen. It's okay, you scream, no? I can.
Ma'am, we are living in 21st century.
Yeah.
Like, when we see in present context, like women also like misusing their rights. Like, we can see many issues in present context that they are like in Zomato, Swiggy, like they are ruining the men's character.
Mm-hmm.
What do you say about this, ma'am? Like women is misusing their power in this present context. Not all of them, some of them.
Some of them. So society is consisting of both good and bad. So I cannot say all the women are 100% correct, right? So the characteristics of a human being can be good as well as bad. So it depends on how are you taking it. Like, and I'm not blaming all the men are suppressing women. That is the main reason that I quoted men feminists, like who joined their hands in bringing feminism, making feminism better. So yeah, things do happen, and it's a human tendency. It's a human tendency to do wrong things also, right? So yeah, it is there. So it is there. I cannot say that all the women are correct. So there are false allegations happening on men as well. But the laws are there to check whether it is false or true. Yeah.
So far we have seen that countries or the government practicing either of the thing, that is patriarchy or matriarchy.
Mm-hmm.
Is it good for a country or the government to practice both of them at giving equality for both the things, that is patriarchy and matriarchy? Will it bring harmony and peace to a country?
Definitely. So unless so see, for few women issues, women try to go explain to women only. So why there is a point in in police station and all, like we if a female is there in a prison, there has to be a woman to take care of her, right? So now there is a question that why we have to come to the power positions. When a woman comes to the power position, then she can shield other women as well. So if it is only men, then it is not going to happen. So there has to be balance. Like how the seasons, winter, rainy and summer. So that is so balanced. The climate should be in a balancing state, right? The same way a society should, if it has to run in a harmony way, then obviously the equal rights, equal opportunities, equal pay for equal work should be there, and that is the balance to take this card called as society in a progressive direction. Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
So ma'am, I would like to clarify two things.
Yeah.
So first is about the bleeding goddess that you told about.
Mm-hmm.
So Kamakya essentially is a Bahujan goddess.
Mm-hmm.
She even till now she is worshipped by Bahujan communities.
Mm-hmm.
So essentially she is seen as sacred, and the deity that is present inside the Garbhagriha, so it still represents a Valva. So what we have to deconstruct, I feel, is that the Brahminical notions of impurity which is there present in the temples.
Mm-hmm.
Except that I think what we Bahujans practice and what we Bahujans worship, it is still very matriarchal because we had an early matriarchal system. And the second thing is, you mentioned how brave Rani Lakshmibai was. but I think that is, as far as my knowledge goes, I think that is an historical inaccuracy, because Rani Lakshmi Bai, she ran away from the battlefield with her general, and it was Jalkari Bai, her female attendant, who belonged to a Bahujan community, who fought in the battlefield. And the third question, what I would like to ask is, you told while speaking about Ramabai Ambedkar that behind every successful man is a woman. Isn't that itself a patriarchal statement?
It's not a patriarchal one. So I wanted to talk about the companionship between Ambedkar and his wife. Okay, it was not being patriarchal one or a matriarchal one. They have equal share of the responsibility. So you go abroad, you study. I will take care of the other section of the responsibility. And the second, the second one that you say that she ran away from the battlefield and all. So history always have the versions. History always have the version. So when I always tell what did we learn from history? We learned nothing. We have seen lot of battles. We have seen lot of bloodshed. We have seen lot of social evils. But still, what we are doing? We are still waging war against the countries, right? So history always have the versions. So in one version, you say she is a very courageous lady. At least she she had the guts even at least to go to the battlefield. In that sense, we can say that she has achieved some extent of being feminist, right? And then the first question, people do worship these kind of gods, and then they say that you are impure. Because I wanted to give a link, what Manusmriti said. Why these people are, he makes a point, the very clear word, disgusting. Women are disgusting just because they have the period issue every month. So how can you say that it is a disgusting thing? How can you say that the creature itself is disgusting just because it pleases? It's the nature, right? So one point in time you say women goddess, you offer prayers, you worship them, and the other point you say that they are disgusting, they are impure, and they are not supposed to get access to the education and all that. So it is highly hypocritical thing. It's an irony. So I just wanted to bring that change between these two. Yeah. Thank you. I was thinking why this girl is not talking. Yeah.
According to you, what do you think, which is the main factor which influences a girl coming to the mainstream of society or equipping herself with different spheres of knowledge and competing with the men's section?
Education. Education is the only panacea to strive in this world. Why am I so strong today? Because I have learned something, I have done something, I have read something, and I have acquired little knowledge which made me empowered to go to any extent of the levels of the institution to go ask for the justice. Right? So until and unless we become educated, until and unless we become empowered, and yes, another main thing I wanted to tell you that you have to become empowered socially, economically, and very, very important thing is that emotionally. You got the point? So with these things will become your shield. That is your only weapon, your strength. When you become very vocal about yourself, your identity, when you know things, when you acquire knowledge about things. So education is the only panacea to become empowered and to come to the mainstream. Why are you can see bureaucrats, there are many women bureaucrats are coming to the power because of their education, and they had an ability to crack the exams. Correct? Without education, if we go and ask, give us power, what will happen? And I just want to even quote that, in Gram Panchayati election, just because of the reservation, women candidates, husband will tell, hey, contest in election. Yeah, she has to. And it is all only the thumb impression, but the ruling will be her husband only. Why? Because she has no education. And for this, I can suggest you to watch a movie, where Tara has, enacted in that as a grand. And finally, she learns. She starts understanding what exactly the literature. She starts understanding. And how did she become empowered? How did she come to the mainstream? Through her education. So education is the only thing that we can become more powerful, and understanding self, involving in these type of discussions will definitely bring you to the mainstream, because you have the ability to analyze any issue. You have the ability to analyze it. Analyzation and interpretation will make you to understand in a very better sense, and then that will empower you. Okay? Thank you.